Everyone is walking around here in New York or in Italy or anywhere in the world. Everyone that's walking around is, whatever they're doing is an answer to the question, how can I be the most happy for the longest amount of time? And so, depending on their ideals, they're either consciously or subconsciously trying to reach that ideal goal of happiness. So everyone's looking for happiness. I mean, do we agree? Does anyone disagree? Like you came here maybe because you had some thought that you could get some happiness. Hopefully we can have share a little happiness together with the kirtan and, the talking. But and so the idea of austerity, you have some people that there are lower ideals of happiness and there are higher ideals of happiness. And in a nutshell, austerity is giving up the quick and easy lower standards of happiness to attain a more higher standard of happiness. Like someone who's settled for this lower standard, they're going to be able to get easier happiness, but ultimately they won't be satisfied. Like I think, who said it? Ralph Waldo Emerson. Someone never let good enough be good enough. Kind of, we don't want to shoot for like lower happiness, and we'll talk about this. We want to shoot for a higher happiness. So there's Sanskrit word for that. So there's Shreyas, or like the ultimate good, higher good, and Preyas, or like the immediate good. So we want to be Shreyasi. We want to be reaching for this higher good. Does everyone agree?
Yes.
We don't want to be Preyasi. And so if we imagine the different kinds of people in the world, we can imagine kind of how Shreyasi will lead to more happiness. I'm sure many people, or some people, I've heard this example a lot. There was a famous experiment called the marshmallow experiment. Has everyone heard of the marshmallow experiment? Yeah. What's the marshmallow experiment, Cassidy?
It's like if you get one marshmallow, are you willing to wait for the second one?
Yeah.
Or are you going to settle for the one marshmallow?
Exactly. So they got some kids and they said, all right, little Tommy, little Jenny, here's a marshmallow, and I'm going to come back in 1 minute and I'm going to bring you a second marshmallow as long as you didn't eat that first one. Okay? And then they leave the room, and the kid's sitting there with the marshmallow right in front of their face. They could just eat it, and kids like marshmallows. And so they found that there was a very strong correlation in the study that every kid that ate the mushroom, or not ate the mushroom, the marshmallow, that they would have less graduation rates, less job satisfaction, less salary, and almost every metric, they measured these kids after 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. It was like a really famous, really long study. And that the kids that they could wait and not take the marshmallow, that they could wait just 1 minute, just having that little bit of control, that overflowed into every aspect of their life. And so, like I said, everyone's doing what they think will make them the happiest, the longest, but then everyone's experiencing different levels of happiness. And in one sense, happiness is happiness. If someone wants some low form of happiness, everyone has free will. That's the universe is made with free will. Like we say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And we can't judge others' happiness too harshly, but for the sake of trying to, like I said in the beginning, and we all agreed, everyone's trying to look for the most happiness that's going to last the longest amount of time. For the sake of analyzing things, how can we get more happiness than someone else is getting or than we're currently getting? Then we need to kind of, judge it. Like that's not that, happiness. They said that no one's actually completely happy unless you're a complete ignorant fool, or you're completely an enlightened, Nitya Parishad, like completely on the transcendental platform. But everyone in between, which is anyone a complete fool here? I mean, I'm pretty foolish, but I don't know what I would say. I'm a complete fool. Or is anyone, raise your hand again, if you're completely enlightened. Like you have it figured out, and you could say here.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's like, so in other words, we're not gonna experience that true happiness. But you couldn't say the happiness of the fully enlightened person is the same as the happiness of the complete fool. They both may be happy, but their happiness is definitely not on the same level. So in that way, we can have a spectrum of happiness, and in the pursuit of that happiness, we can have maybe a spectrum, or I guess if we could talk more about austerity, that the person who's a complete fool or lower, closer to that, in general, you'll see that they'll have less of a idea of doing anything for Shreyas, anything for the higher good. They're always more of, give me my marshmallow now, I don't care about getting two later, I just want one right now. So someone who's completely preyasy, or for that short-term benefit, they're on a road, like if I just told everyone here right now, okay, so every decision you make from this point out, just choose the happiness right now. If you're waking up and you're like, oh, I gotta go to work, but I'm kind of tired, I want to sleep. No, just forget that. Just throw the alarm away and go to sleep. Or if you're like, oh, should I make something, or should I just eat this bag of chips? No, just eat the bag of chips. It's right there. Just do that. If you just always make that decision, then within a very short amount of time, you'll become a derelict, or like a broken person, probably homeless, probably jobless, probably not having good relationships, probably not having good friendships. So this is, and we can see that a lot if we observe in our own lives when we've made these decisions, or see in others. And basically being a focus so much in prayas, this means we don't want to experience the trouble of having to wait or having to struggle to get something higher. So that's what austerity means. In Sanskrit, it's called tapas. Can everyone say tapas?
Tapas.
So it sounds like a Spanish word too. I guess tapas, you cook it and it becomes hot. Tapas means heat. And it means kind of, when you, a good example of someone doing some sort of austerity, like people go to the gym. So it's hard to go to the gym. You have to make a way out of your day. You have to change into some clothes, specifically for that. You have to go exercise. Your body actually heats up, and you're sweating and everything like that. And then you have to take a shower and put everything. It's like if you go, it's a whole operation. But the people who do that, they also get the higher goal. They're more fit. They're more healthy. They're more. If they do things right, then they can live longer. They can live. They can experience levels of happiness that people that don't do that don't have access to. Or similarly, related to freedom, austerity and freedom to do what I want. If I was just singing now, but if I never practiced or I never learned how to do it, I wouldn't have the freedom to be able to enjoy doing music with you all. And so, the child who doesn't want to take the marshmallow, or doesn't want to wait for the marshmallow, or the person who just makes all these decisions for the immediate benefit now, that's going to make their life harder. They say if you live a hard life now, then you get an easy life later. But an easy life now means a hard life later. And so, therefore, there's all these, then if you make your decisions based off of just trying to get the happiness later, okay, so therefore I should eat healthy. I shouldn't eat the potato chips. I should make myself something fresh, with fresh, maybe with some vegetables in it, cooked properly so I can digest it, so I don't get upset. Maybe I should stay in tonight and I shouldn't go out because otherwise I'm not going to pass my exam tomorrow. Or maybe, okay, I should wake up a little earlier because otherwise I'll be late to this important appointment. And so I'm not tired when I get to the appointment. I have to go to bed earlier as well. And so like this, when you're thinking of the next day ahead, of your happiness later, there's this one comedian that said, what's your best form of advice? And they said, just think about things in the future. If you can think about what's going to happen in the future, then everything that you do is going to be eventually arranged to make that future better. And so this goes on, not just that I have to go to bed earlier today so that my day tomorrow is good. Like we've all heard, early to bed, early to rise makes one healthy, wealthy, and yada yada, right? Everyone's heard that? I feel like I heard that so much growing up. That, you know, in the first thing that this is really instilled in us is by our parents. Like when you're a baby, when you're a kid, you just want to eat candy all the time, or you know, eat sweets, or you just want to eat that potato chips. But I mean, you know, usually the parents will be like, okay, no, you can't eat that now. Just eat your vegetables. I mean, that's just like a common trope. Whose parents ever told them to eat their vegetables? No one of you guys' parents ever told you to eat your vegetables? Are you guys all like?
80s kids.
Oh.
I think so.
Oh yeah. And then they tell you, okay, you have to go to school. You know, you get in trouble if you don't go to school. You're a, what do they call it? I can't remember. So if you don't go to school, then and the kid plays hooky from school, then he gets in big trouble. You know, Ferris Bueller's Day Off is like a famous movie because he got out of school for one day or something like that. So all the kids, you always want to get out of school and get out of the thing that's hard in the moment. But the parents are one of the first people that instill upon this, let's look to the future and kind of give up something now. Give up your single marshmallow now to get 2 marshmallows in the future. And so they taught us that. And so you all said you heard, can I get a Bhagavad Gita really quick? Does everyone want to hear some Sanskrit? This is the Sanskrit is like the language. It's like an ancient language that some people say all other languages can be traced to. Some people say there's languages before that, but either way, it's a very wonderful language. And this Bhagavad Gita Gita means song, so it's actually like meant to be sung. And so Krishna, the speaker of the Bhagavad Gita, he talks about austerity or tapas. And there's a lot of things he says, and we could spend class after class doing it. But I just want to go over one that we could kind of talk, now that we have this idea of tapas. Like, I mean, everyone probably understood this before, but we're all like, you get the idea of like experiencing the heat of like waiting now to get something better later, right? Everyone understands that? It's not too much of a heavy concept. Okay. Deva Dvija Guru Prajna Pujanam Shocham Arjavam Brahmacharyam Ahimsa Cha Shariram Tapa Uchate. So who knows Sanskrit? Okay, for everyone else, I'll say the English. Austerity of the body consists in worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, or spiritual teachers, the spiritual master, and superiors like the father and mother, and in cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence. Okay, so we have all those, that's like 8 things. He says a lot more. There's 700 verses in here, and quite a few are actually about austerity. But we're just going to like try to, as a whole group, like unpack this statement. So I was explaining how tapas is not taking the marshmallow for 2 marshmallows later. And there was videos of the kids, and they would like be like looking at it and like pull, you know, like they just wanted to have it, but they were pulling their nervous system back, you know, and that was like, you know, that was creating heat. And I explained how, so there's things, you know, so the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master, the parents, those 4 things, and then cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence. And so the parents, they teach us austerity by telling us to eat our vegetables, making us go to school, doing so many things. I mean, I was just at my brother's house in Michigan, and he has a 3-year-old daughter, and okay, it's time to take a bath. No, I don't want to take a bath. You know, so the kids, generally, they don't really understand that. So the first people that instilled this idea of prayas or shreyas is the parents. And then we have the Supreme Lord, and Krishna says austerity consists in worship of the Supreme Lord. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that because it's kind of a deep topic. And then the other ones I think we can unpack together. So just like our mother and our father told us to do some things that will be kind of painful, and not we have to go to school, we have to eat something that doesn't taste so good, we can't just eat candy every day. And in the future we'll be healthy. We don't really know that, but our parents had instilled that into us. If we take that and not only thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen next week, what's going to happen next year, what's going to happen next decade, we take it decade after decade after decade to the end of our life. There's going to be a decade that we're not going to be there, that this body is going to end, believe it or not. And does everyone believe it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we should think about it. If we're prayasi, we have to think about tomorrow. You all are here tonight. We're going to stay up and do some kirtan and have some prasadam. Maybe we get home 10 o'clock, something like that. We're going to go to bed and it's going to be Monday morning again. And so we have to think about what we're going to do on Monday morning. But we also have to think about the next Monday. We have to think about 2026. We have to think about 2036, 2056, 256, or 2156. In that year, we may all be here somewhere, but not in the way that we're here. Unless, the tech gurus figure out how to transplant everyone's consciousness into eternal robots. But personally, I don't see that happening. And so, Krishna said, you should worship the Supreme Lord, you should worship the spiritual teachers, and the spiritual master. And so, they're the ones that, like our parents gave birth to us, and they taught us Shreyas versus Preyas. They taught us how to, wait to get 2 marshmallows for things that, like studying. If you study, then you're going to get a good job and you're going to live a better life. So similarly, when we start thinking all the way to the time of death, when we start trying to think past the time of death, that changes our consciousness. And that brings in so many different ideas. Where's my notes on that? Yeah, so when you're thinking about time after death, it brings in the idea of okay, soul versus body. My body has needs, but my soul has needs. So I need to focus on that something. And if we have the soul coming into the picture, and after death, okay, that brings God into the picture. And then my relationship with God, some sort of religion, some sort of practice like that. And this change in consciousness is also called in the Vedas as a second birth. When you start, it's kind of like the spiritual teacher, the spiritual master, they give us a second birth into life. And so therefore, we respect them. Just because our parents did us so much good, and we would be ungrateful to not give them respect, and sometimes it happens, but Krishna is recommending that because our parents did so much good for us, that we should give them respect. And because the spiritual teachers did us so much good, we should offer them respect. And then he's saying then we should worship the Supreme Lord. So in the beginning I was saying we all have some ideal of the highest form of happiness. Everyone wants to be the most happy for the most amount of time. And so if you're actually thinking Shreyasi, eventually you're going to need to have some sort of relationship with we're all eternal beings, but there's one eternal being that's superior, and we're going to have a relationship with that. So we're going to actually have to start thinking about that and developing that. In general, what someone worships or they idolize, they say idol worship, we think of American Idol, some pop star singer or some rock star. People idolize that, they worship that because that's in a way their standard of happiness. Okay, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Let's go. Or in the 80s, I guess funk and cocaine and whatever. And whatever it is these days in the 2000s. And people idolize and idealize this standard of happiness, and to worship essentially means just to give your attention, to give your regard, to give your consciousness to. So therefore, people love to see these rock stars or these pop stars or these movie stars having so much money. It's all in the tabloids, what's going on in their relationship, because they're kind of almost living vicariously to their ideal, and then based on that, they'll try to enjoy to whatever level they can. And so, if we shift our mind to offering to, if we're attracted to someone that because they have some money, or because they can sing good, or have a very artistic sense, or they're very intelligent and they can, make our minds become boggled by so many amazing things. Those are all very attractive things that, some person may be attracted to, and then give their energy, or in a way give their worship. But what if we had the person that had the most wealth, the most intelligence, the most beauty? One word for God is Bhagavan. So Van means full, and Bhaga means opulences, and it's referring to all these attractive opulences that everyone wants, like wealth, beauty, intelligence, or austerity, renunciation. It's also very attractive if someone has a lot of things, but then they're not interested. And so anything we do to actually give our consciousness to, even just paying respects to our parents, especially paying respects to spiritual teachers, brahmanas, gurus, spiritual leaders that are trying to help us get this Shreyasi idea and implement in our life. And especially any connection we can have with the Supreme Lord. This is all like very good austerity, very good tapas. Because while it may be a little painful in the beginning, like I remember I took a karate class, and then the karate guru, he's saying, okay, now you have to bow down. My parents were like, okay, bow down. And I didn't want to. Like, why do I have to bow down? I don't want to. But it's because they were coming with some knowledge and they were teaching something, and you follow that and you get a nice result. And so you offer them respect. So we offer our parents respects, we offer the teachers respect, and all this leads to our ultimate good. So the verse I covered, we mentioned 8 things. So we just kind of went over 4, the Lord, the spiritual master, the spiritual teachers, and the parents. And now I want to just churn the pot with you all about these next 4: cleanliness, simplicity, nonviolence, and celibacy. So we'll start with cleanliness, and I guess it's kind of obvious, but can anyone try to tell me how cleanliness will help you attain the highest happiness, or get closer to that? Or in other words, if you're dirty, how does that affect your life and go away from your happiness? Does anyone have anything? I'll give you time to think, no problem. Yes.
Yes, here, Shaucham, cleanliness refers to both external as well as internal purity. So long as our thoughts are impure, you cannot concentrate on the higher self.
Thank you, wonderful. Did everyone catch that? So we have external cleanliness, like taking a bath, like wearing clean cloth and having a clean room, so on and so forth. But he mentioned a very important point, that without internal cleanliness, what our thoughts are, if our thoughts are impure, then that'll lead to impure activities, and then our externals will be impure. So any other comments on cleanliness?
It's sattvic, so then from sattva you can easily jump to Shuddha.
Sorry, could you say a little louder?
Yeah, it's considered being clean is considered sattvic. So from sattva you can jump to Shuddha.
Okay, so he's mentioning something about sattva. Raise your hand if you know what sattva means. If you've ever heard that word sattva. So this is a nice term. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he explains how reality has different modes. Like you can play a game in different levels of difficulty, different modes. Reality also has different modes. And I guess in a quick way, it's, you can have goodness, which he said you could go to Shuddha Sattva, or just pure goodness, passion, or ignorance. So the person in ignorance is going to be mostly that Prayasi. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
There might be some prasadam you can take before you go. And so
Modes.
the
Games.
modes. So if you're in the lower modes, which we're all stuck in the lower modes sometimes. Sometimes we just want to sleep. Sometimes we just want to take the easy path. That's okay. It happens. Then it's either gonna be that more of that prayasi. You're gonna just take the first marshmallow and you're gonna miss out on the 2 marshmallows. And you get in the higher modes, you can see things more easily. Your thoughts are more pure and focused. You're like that kid that just sees a marshmallow and he's not worried at all. He knows the second marshmallow is coming, and so he's relaxed. Whereas someone in the middle, they're like struggling really hard. They know they shouldn't have the marshmallow, but they really want it, and their mind is like, a little bit of impure thoughts. And so the cleanliness, that's good.
Good psychology, good healthy mind. 'Cause
Yeah, we can't have anything. We can't practice bhakti if our mind is crazy. Like if our mind's disconnected from reality, then how can we hope to approach happiness?
If your room is messy, then your mind is also messy.
Yeah, that's true. My mind has felt clean, and then I go into a dirty room and I get all confused. Or if my mind's all messed up, even if I'm in a clean room, I end up making a mess. Like our externals definitely reflect our internals. So then, how about let's go to the next one. Non-violence. How is non-violence helping us achieve that shreyas?
I feel like our activity affects our own consciousness, and the other way around also. So if we commit violence, our heart become callous and dull, and then harder,
Interesting.
and it will become very difficult for whatever spiritual energy we're trying to imbibe in our heart. It's not gonna go in. We're not gonna be able to absorb properly. So that's like the foundation for us to receive higher spiritual force, is to become compassionate first, so we can open up our heart and allow that to come in.
Yeah, I like that. That if you're violent in your activities, then your heart is going to be messed up, and that's going to mess everything up. I was also thinking, violence also means some other person you're disturbing. So if you're just disturbing everyone, then how do you think they're going to react? There's some nice people that might not do anything. Like some people are tolerant and patient. If I push Nitin under Chandra, maybe he's just like, okay, whatever. But if I do it enough, he's going to push me back. There's a reciprocation. If you're gonna hurt things, then eventually it's gonna come around and affect you. So then, therefore, maybe you perform some violent thing for some basic getting your 1 marshmallow now, but then in the future it's no good. So we have simplicity and celibacy left as the 2 last topics, and we've got a couple minutes. So, which one do you want to tackle, my dear friend?
I just want to talk more about non-violence.
Okay, non-violence. You can say that.
Would it be fine to be violent in self-defense, or
Yeah, of course.
would that be impure?
Of course, getting violent in anything is gonna make us if you have to get violent, you have to get angry and things like that. But in self-defense, it's considered dharmic and it's considered necessary.
Depends on what we're defending. It might be defending our ego. Like someone said,
That's a good
"You're
point.
fat." You're like, "No, I'm not." It's like you're just defending the false sense of the self. It doesn't need protection because the soul can't be, hurt with the word "you're fat" or "you're this" or that.
Yeah, we would sometimes, if we don't stand up for our ideals, then we're actually putting our ideals down, and we're gonna going for that 1 marshmallow. Okay, so how about celibacy or simplicity? Anyone have thoughts on how everyone can understand that becoming a celibate automatically induces tapas or heat. That's the marshmallow that everyone's trying to eat. That's the fact of the world. But the idea of renunciation is that actually if someone's trying turn out something that they really, really want. Like that kid's just like, I need the marshmallow, and he's like holding himself back. Actually, he's gonna eat the marshmallow very soon. But the kid that knows I'm getting 2 marshmallows like later, and you know, I know that I'm getting that, so I'm not agitated at all. He's already knows that there's gonna be a higher thing. Like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, if you want to give up the lower taste, you can't just give something up. You need to replace it with something better. So, if our parents are telling us don't eat candy and like eat your vegetables, eventually as an adult when we mature we understand that. If I just eat candy, I'm gonna feel like crap. But if I eat like healthy foods, then I'm gonna feel healthy, and everything else I do is gonna be better. And so I'm sure all of us are not struggling when we go to like the store. Like, should I just buy a bunch of Skittles and eat that like every day and not like eat? No, I mean, all you guys look relatively healthy and like, you know, happy, and I don't think you're just eating candy all day. So we understand that. So similarly, the attraction of sex is one of those big marshmallows that will mostly take us away from our higher Shreyasi happiness, our ultimate good. But however, if we experience some spiritual bliss and we can compare it, then it's no longer like giving something up. It's just I have an apple in my hand and I change it and I took a watermelon. You know, you can't just give up the apple and have nothing in your hands. You have to actually have something. So actually our spiritual process as monks and as is to always focus on God. And I was telling someone yesterday, they're like, oh, you're a monk? Did you like go to meditate in the Himalayas? And I was like, oh, I've been to India, but I've never been to the Himalayas. But our process is actually, you don't need to be a monk. You can actually meditate and connect with the Supreme for 24 hours a day. Even a very basic beginner practitioner can do that. But who can do anything for 24 hours a day? I mean, we can't eat for 24 hours a day. We can't sleep for 24 hours a day. We can't talk for 24 hours a day. But with this process of Krishna consciousness, we can do all of many different activities and have them in relationship to the Supreme Lord, and that way our whole day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, can be filled up with that. And even if we're sleeping, we don't have to stay awake for 24 hours a day. But if we're sleeping, we can actually sleep with for the proper way, for the proper purpose. And then even that sleep counts as meditation, counts as going for that. And so I just tried to talk a little bit about this statement. I hope it was nice and okay.
Simplicity.
Simplicity. If anyone has any, you know, one part of simplicity is our program is going to end soon, right? 7:30?
7:45.
All right, okay, we have a little more time. So simplicity, if you're engaged in so many, like, who's ever told a lie? Who's not raising their hand? I know that you're also lying. Yeah, and the thing is with lies, like I remember when I was a little kid, I was at my friend's house, and their mom had left like a bunch of money on the counter for the daughter, to go to the movies. And you know, when you're a little kid, it's like Shreyas versus Prayas. Oh, this is money, like free money I can just take. You don't really think about like, oh, I'm at my friend's house and it might be someone else's money, and you just take it. And then later on, like their mom called my mom and, no, what are you doing? Did you take that money? And I like, oh no. And so you try to lie, like, oh, I didn't take the money. It's like, you know, and make up some story. But the more of the story you have to make up, the more like complicated things you have to like keep track of. Like, you know, where did you, like, okay, so you didn't take their money, but where did you get this money? You know, they were grilling me with questions. They already knew that I stole it. And no, I found it, where did you find it? And you're like, I found it at their house. No, I didn't find it at their house. I found it, you make up a lie, like, or the police are asking questions sometimes. They may just, they try to question you in a certain way. Like we have one devotee living here. He used to be a private investigator. So they can question you in a certain way to kind of like tease out whether you're lying or not. Or if you go to a judge and a jury, the lawyers will question the witness very like from every angle and try to point out any inconsistencies. And so if they're lying, it's hard to keep up with all of that. And so part of simplicity is just, it is what it is. Like, in the Gita, it's saying that sometimes you can be someone that's actually completely simple, that they're willing, if their enemy comes up and just ask for something, they're just going to give them the frank truth about it. They're not going to try to hide something or obscure something or do something like that.
So opposite of simplicity is duplicity.
That's one opposite of simplicity. Definitely duplicity. Duplicity creates this network of lies that I don't know. I mean, if we've ever told a lie, we've experienced that to some degree. I heard they said this one thing, that if you tell someone to put an L on their forehead or something like that, and like they do it, it's like depending on which way they do it, you can tell how much they can like think about another person's perspective. So if they make it like so everyone else will see the L, or they make it like they're seeing the L. You can tell based on that, like how good they would be at lying. Because lying means you're trying to think, okay, what would this person think if I actually did that? And let me try to like do that. But that it just becomes such a brain drain, and you can't. Eventually, it's the network is going to get messed up. Eventually, Rupert Murdoch or who's the one, Ponzi scheme. Whatever. Bernie Madoff. Yeah, it's like eventually you're gonna get caught. Like you can fool some of the people for some of the time or whatever, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. And so, better just to take it simple. And another part of simplicity. Okay, so you want more. You want those 2 marshmallows, but you want it now. Okay, so let's just buy a bunch of lotto tickets. So I can use my 1 marshmallow now, and I can get 2, and I don't have to work. But it's like maybe you're gonna win something, maybe you're not, but it's definitely not like a responsible decision to make. It's definitely not a Shreyasi decision to make. If you just plan to make like all right, what's your plan to get money, Nityana Chandra? Oh, I'm gonna take my life savings, go to Vegas. That's how I'm gonna live the next year. I don't think many banks would offer a loan to cover that, or you go to an insurance agent and you tell them. They're not going to accept that business plan. And so being simple is also very powerful to keep our bodies austere. Krishna also talks about being austere in the mind, being austere with our speech, and in different ways. We could have a few more classes about that. And he talks about if we're being austere for the wrong reasons, like you can be austere for the sake of tomorrow or for the sake of next year, or you can be austere for the sake of next lifetime, or you can be austere for the sake of just complete transcendence. And I guess the one main idea is, even though despite there being heat, austerity there's heat in the moment, but it's a little bit more of a difficult thing in the moment, but it's a much more easier and better thing in the end, in the ultimate end. So therefore, we should all try to organize our life in such a way that our bodies can give respect to our parents, at least to the degree that we help them. I mean, our parents brought us here, so we owe them a little bit. Give respect to the different spiritual teachers that have brought so many positive teachings to help everyone reach the highest goal, throughout humanity. Here in the ISKCON temple, we're not so sectarian. We can see that any bona fide religion has something good, and even the unbona fide religions, they also have some good things, although we can also analyze the issues we may have with them. And so, well, we should give them respect. And of course, we're here at the Hare Krishna temple, so we want to give Hare in Krishna, who, if you don't know who they are, you can learn by coming here, and we can tell you all about them. And we should offer them respect in worship, in our attention, in our minds. And we should do everything with internal and external cleanliness. If we're always thinking about these higher ideals, that's the ultimate purity internally, and it'll reflect in our outward cleanliness. We should always be simple. We should not do any violence to anyone. And even violence means you could have done something good, but you refrained from doing it. That's also violence. Is letting someone who you could have helped, letting them suffer. So we should try to do the most good. And I mean, as a monk, I can say that I think everyone would be more happy if they found a higher spiritual taste and could remain celibate, although that may be a fanatical idea in such a crowd of people, but at least I can say it. And so with that, I'd like to hear maybe some reflections or some more discussions, or we can go to Kirtan if you guys are done yapping with me. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Actually, my view in terms of celibacy is probably a little broader. Besides people who actually are officially monk, it could also be useful for everybody who is either, in a relationship or not, because that simply means they could be more focused on higher connections or spiritual connection rather than the physical, and that would conserve energy to use for spiritual enlightenment.
Yeah, that's what
so
austerity
it could
is,
be for
yeah.
everybody, actually.
Yeah, I'm not saying that everyone can become a monk, but anyone that can integrate spiritual teachings in their life will definitely find celibacy to be a great, it's like putting gasoline on the fire. It's a great accelerant. And, it's the, like I said, sex is that marshmallow that everyone's hankering after it. It's the main attraction in this material world that causes us to forget about the more future. I mean, how many? I don't have to explain how many different. What was just in the news, that CEO got caught at that concert or something like that. I mean, that is like so many problems caused by it, and that was not necessarily. That was like simplicity and celibacy. Like he couldn't just be simple, and he already had a wife. I mean, was his wife pretty? She must have been.
Yes, she was there for sure. She was. Yeah.
And then he had to have a second wife, and it's just, you want okay, I can get one marshmallow. No, why not two marshmallows right now? And they're not thinking about. In that moment, surely you're not thinking about, oh, maybe am I going to get caught? Am I going to lose my job? Am I going to lose my money? Am I going to lose my fame? Am I going to become infamous? Oh no. And I guess he wasn't, hopefully he comes to the Hare Krishna temple and we can set him straight.
So you have this verse in the 11th canto, and it's it gets even more broad than he was saying. It's so it's a samana, karma, acharanam, patitam napatakam. It says if you're already like flat on the ground, you can't go down further. And it describes that for an alcoholic, if he starts drinking once a day, he's doing good. But for the priest, he starts drinking once a day, he's doing bad. He's doing terrible. And for like the sannyasi monk, if he's got a side wife, that's very bad. But if the householder, if he's very attached to his wife, it's very good because he's attached to one wife, not every other lady he sees.
That's such a great point.
So one person's illusion is another person's like step up. Like that, this is that person's step down, but for other person, okay, no, this is actually
Yeah.
where I'm at, this is the step
Yeah,
up.
thank you, Nityananda. Yeah, I guess everything I said today, we're going to clarify it by his nice statement that don't worry, whatever level that we're at, I'm in one sense painting like, you know, the structure of the idea of the ladder, whether we're on the first rung or the last rung. We should just know that there's a ladder and that we can start reaching up, and then we start doing that. It's going to make us happier just by doing that, and it's also going to help us for the long-term happiness completely. But if we're lower and we try to reach too far, then maybe the intensity of the heat of that austerity may be too much for us to handle. So everyone should take according to their own. You know, the bird flies in high of the sky as his wings will allow. But we should try to fly.
Get in don't stay in the comfort zone, not the burnout zone, but the stretch zone, where it's like a little bit.
Yeah.
It's got to be stretch it.
Yeah, that's my you know, it's like a hard life now, easy life in the future. You know, easy life now, hard life in the future. But then there's a gradation. If you make your life too hard, then you're just gonna burn out and you can't do anything. So we shouldn't make our life too hard, but we also shouldn't just rest on our laurels and just, you know, like I said in the beginning, the quote, never let good enough be good enough. I mean, we have some idea of happiness where, I mean, if you've been hearing from us, we have these really amazing ideals of happiness, which we'd love to share if you come to our temple more often. But whatever level ideal of happiness that you have, that's your dream. That's what you're attaining for. You shouldn't settle for mediocrity. You should try to make steps in that direction. You know, visualize. What's stopping you from doing that?
Do you know, Gauranga Maharaj this one? Good, better, best. Never let it rest. Your good is better, and your better is best.
So it's 7:50 now. Does anyone have any last words?
What are your takeaways? Tell us. Share what we.
Yeah, that would be enthusiastic for me if, you know, there's anything that anyone liked or disliked that they can. Maybe we'll go around the room. Maybe we'll go this, or we'll go start this way.
Okay, what's my takeaway? I just remember this. You're stealing story. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, I was like 9 or 10 years old.
I liked your point about giving respect to people that we get knowledge from, because like if you go from a perspective of humility, then you're more likely to grow and become a better person.
Yeah, you can't. If there's a glass of water and you need water, and your water cup is higher than the pitcher, you're not going to get water. You need to be a little lower to actually get it. So paying respect to teachers allows the knowledge to flow. Raj, you had your hand up.
Yeah. No, I learned just wait for the marshmallow.
That's right. Wait for the marshmallow. That was the whole takeaway. Thank you. That was like the main thing I was trying to drive home. Thank you.
We have T-shirts at the end. It says "Wait for the marshmallow."
Wait for the marshmallow. There's a second one. Believe it.
I feel like the point where you said like being celibate, I too consider that like if you conserve your energy, the power of manifesting goes higher in the body.
Yeah.
Like you could imagine things and certainly they come true, or like you get connected to the higher power if you stay celibate for long periods of time.
I mean, if we're not celibate, like that is the power of creating another living being. It's like extremely a lot of energy, a lot of power, and also thinking about how to attain sex is like takes up a lot of people's minds. And so if we're somehow able to divert our mind to something higher, to something better, and our mind is satisfied with that, then we'll have so much more energy, so much more things.
Yeah, the simplicity you were talking about reminds me of, or thinking of the issue with mental speculation. The more complicated our life is, the mind would have to constantly speculate
Yeah.
in order to like, you know, create. Okay, how do I create my kingdom? How do I make, you know, get to where I want to go? And then that is in direct opposition with what we're trying to do, which
Yeah.
is to be present in our meditation, especially when we're, you know, mantra meditation. You know, we're completely distracted. So it's a pretty big enemy, actually. So we could totally create our own enemy by being too complicated.
It just brings this vision to my head that like, okay, like it's someone like you're living out of a dumpster and like flies are all around and you're eating trash, but you're like, but it's free. Like your mind is like has to come up with something that's like, oh, it's good, and like we're doing good now. Like we're the dumpster king. Like at least the other guy's dumpster is smaller than mine. Like and so the mind is always. Krishna says in the Bhagavatam, the mind has godlike powers to like shift our perspective to all kinds of different ways. But if we just become simple, okay, it's free, but I'm living in a dumpster. That's the reality. Then it's like the cold reality can help us eventually get out of it.
I've been thinking about Bhagavad Gita chapter 6 recently. The mind could be our biggest friend and or enemy.
Worst enemy.
Worst
Thank
enemy,
you. Yeah, that's powerful. Yes, Cassidy. You have anything that you liked or disliked or that you want to say?
I think for me it's just a reminder that patience is not always easy, but it's worth it for happiness, and just staying patient with the connection with God or Source, and that'll be the vehicle to whatever happiness we have.
Yeah, that's one of the core principles of happiness that was given by one of our great acharyas or gurus. That one of the core principles is patience. You know, they said you have to have enthusiasm, determination, and patience. And if you have those, then you're gonna get it. Yeah, Ian, right? It's your first time. Am I a crazy fanatic person and everything I said was weird, or did you like it?
I couldn't really come up with anything specific, but
That's okay.
But I did have a question.
Okay.
That's a type of accordion, right?
This thing is called a harmonium, and it's a hand-pumped metal reed-based organ.
Does it like rotate?
No, it has a hand. I just pump, and this thing like will fill with air from these. Oh, is there holes somewhere? Anyways, there's holes somewhere, and this thing fills with air, and then when I push the air through it, blows the reeds and makes a sound.
It's quite an old instrument.
It's yeah, the British brought it in 1800s, something like that. I mean, this one is probably 5 years old or 10 years old. But thank you for coming. Come again. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Do you remember me? That's Keshav.
Keshav.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, should be an easy name to remember.
Yeah.
Anyways, don't mean to be adversarial, but I feel like happiness as a whole is very subjective to people, and just saying that, oh, if you follow these 4 principles, I don't think that might be enough. Also, given the situation, it's hard to say, what's better long term, what's better short term.
Yeah, that's what I said in the beginning.
very
Like
hard.
everyone's happiness, like they all have everyone has a different ideal of happiness. So these different principles, I'm just repeating what Krishna is saying, and my stance is that Krishna has good ideas. But that's
That's fine.
if someone wants to doubt it, then they can make an experiment. That's like I said in the beginning, everyone has free will, but I think we could analyze it. Like that's our line in the sand. We could analyze it. Anyone thinks that they have a better idea, please. Like we're looking for everyone's walking around. Who wants to be the most happy for the longest amount of time? I think I found it here, but I'm definitely willing to look if I can find it somewhere better. But so far, like, I mean, I can just speak from experience and from everything I've heard. Like this Krishna conscious thing is amazing. So all these 4 principles, it may not make you happy if you're like trying to go for other things, but these are specifically powerful for this like ultimate happiness that we're seeking, that we connect to and we can get in this process. but thank you. That's definitely a valid point. Everyone's searching for their own happiness. Like, you know, the rock star has their happiness. The person working on Wall Street has their happiness. The homeless bum begging for money on the trains has their happiness. The dog and the monkeys have their happiness. You know, it's you can't say someone's more happy or less happy. So yeah, that's valid. And our I didn't catch your guys' names, did I?
Oh, sorry, we didn't
Yeah.
realize that it was a private event, but we just.
No, it's not private, but you know.
My name is Mickey and my wife,
Right.
we came from London.
I saw you at the kirtan yesterday.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Hare Krishna. Anything to add or say or
I mean.
challenge? I like challenges. Thank you,
challenges.
Keshav, by the
I
way.
won't want to challenge you right now, but what the sadhu over there said about from the 11th canto, it was nice. It was a nice reflection that depending on where people are in their journey and in their ashrams, etc., one person's kind of downfall might be actually a positive, or not a positive, but like something that someone could aspire to in another ashram. Does that make sense? It was a nice reflection.
Yeah, everyone has their own medicine.
Yeah.
So
And
we
different
just
doses.
take our medicine, or like I was saying, everyone's on a different spot in the ladder. So you're just trying for your next rung on the ladder. Don't if you try to jump up 3 things in the ladder, you're gonna fall off
Yeah.
and not get anywhere. So yeah, valid point. Thank you. And yes, our Ukrainian friends. Yeah. Oh, not Ukrainian? Brazilian. Okay. Oh, wonderful.
I just wanted to say that it's important to keep your mind clear. Like you said, your mind could be the best enemy. I mean, your worst enemy and your best friend.
Yeah.
But I just feel like sometimes you get stuck in a loop of bad thoughts, and it's very important to calm yourself, and mantra helps to not to think about anything. I mean,
Yeah, I that's definitely our major technology that we're trying to sell is mantra technology. And while in the beginning mantra is trying to clear away our thoughts from bad things, it also eventually, if we hear enough about like this Hare Krishna mantra, if we hear enough about Hare Krishna, then automatically all the qualities and different things will automatically come to us, and then our thoughts will be full of all these amazing, ideal, wonderful things. And that even if we're stuck in like these bad thoughts, if we can get to these, that can actually take us out and completely, like in my own personal life, I was very depressed. I'm 34 now, and I was like 18 and 19. I guess I don't need to get into a big discussion about it, but then when I found the Maha Mantra, and learned about meditation, I had a lot of these like, you know, it's like bad thought loops kind of, but when I learned about it, it was very, it just completely changed the way. It's like, oh, I have something actually to deal with this now. Like I can actually, instead of just like, you just have to take it, you know, there's nothing you can do. You just have, okay, you feel bad, you're depressed, you have bad thoughts all the time. That's just what it is. You can take a pill for it, and it might just make you feel numb, so you don't feel that at all. And I tried that a little bit, but it didn't help, and I didn't like that. But then when I finally got something that I actually like, oh, I can start actually taking a step in the right direction, and I have something I can, you know, physically do to be able to do that. It was like life-changing. It's still life-changing. Well, thank you. And from Brazil, anything?
Just what you said about the candy, the first candy. It's like the easy, quick dopamine that everyone talks about, like best reflection. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we can have a much better life later if we forego the quick and easy dopamine and build our brain to desire the hardship. Like I like to practice music, so when you practice anything, or people like they get a runner's high, like, or when you work out, if you do anything for long enough, when you're practicing that austerity and you start to get the good results, your brain will have these very powerful connections where then it gives you dopamine for experiencing hardship. Like, okay, I'm gonna just like sit here and meditate, or I'm gonna go here and do this thing and read or do something like that, or practice music. At first it's like, oh, I don't want to do this and it's boring, and in 10 minutes my mind is just going crazy, let's get out of here. But now it's like I can sit down and I can practice the drum for like hours, and I'm like, I don't want to do anything else but just do this. So yeah, it's very powerful. Shivani, last words.
So for me, happiness is just not a thing. I love to be in the feeling of content, not too happy, not too sad.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, like whatever you said about things, the four principles, yeah, happiness can be subjective, but I feel like somebody, like anyone, they should be in the feeling of content more than happiness.
Mm.
Because then nothing would bother, neither getting too happy, neither getting too sad.
This is such a wonderful point. Krishna also brings that up, because you can get too happy. Like someone like wins the lottery, you feel so elated, and sometimes they can even get a heart attack and die from that. That's happened.
Just win a lottery and die.
Yeah. So yeah, but like yeah, it's like, and that is advice that's also given, that even in like one of the first things Krishna says is that happiness and distress are going to come, whatever we're going to do, they're going to come. So therefore we should just be equipoised. When it's cold in the winter, you just bring a coat. When it's raining outside, you bring an umbrella. When it's hot outside, you dress with light clothing. And you so in other words, they come, but we should just tolerate them without being disturbed.
Yeah, we'll give it Natabara a nice round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for giving me the opportunity to speak. It actually is the most helpful for me, but if any of you were benefited in any way, I'm glad, but it really helps me because then it forces me to study and think about all these things, and that's good for my brain, good for my activities. So just by coming here, you helped me a lot. I'm really appreciative, and I hope that you enjoy this nice prasadam feast, which is spiritual food, and we try to put spiritual vibes into it, so hopefully you guys can get some nice spiritual vibes and make a nice atmosphere for you to eat. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.